The old ranch fence had stood on our family land for nearly 70 years. My grandfather built every post with his own hands, marking the boundary long before luxury homes appeared on these hills. I never imagined someone would tear it down without even asking. But that morning, everything changed. I noticed several unfamiliar pickup trucks parked near the western fence line. Workers wearing orange safety vests were unloading equipment as if they already owned the property. None of them had ever spoken to me. Before I could ask what was happening, the sound of heavy machinery echoed across the valley. A skid steer drove directly toward my family's fence. I realized they weren't measuring it. They were preparing to remove it. The first wooden post snapped with a loud crack. Decades of family history collapsed into the dirt within seconds. No one even looked at me while it happened. I walked toward the foreman and calmly asked who had authorized the work. Instead of answering, he simply pointed toward the massive glass mansion on the hill. Moments later, the mansion owner walked down the hill with complete confidence. He folded his arms and smiled as if the entire ranch already belonged to him. He claimed the fence had been built in the wrong place decades ago. According to him, the HOA had already approved moving the property line. I knew that wasn't how property ownership worked. I quietly asked to see the official survey. The workers suddenly became uncomfortable. The foreman admitted he hadn't seen any legal property documents either. Instead of stopping the work, the HOA president laughed and said I'd soon receive a bill for removing the fence. I simply nodded and looked toward my truck where my grandfather's survey records were stored. As the machines continued digging, I unlocked the metal document box that had remained in my truck for years. Inside was the original survey signed decades ago. Everything was about to change. I carefully unfolded the faded survey map across the hood of my old pickup truck. Every measurement had been certified decades ago by the county surveyor. The construction crew gathered around, suddenly paying much closer attention. The foreman compared my map with the digital survey displayed on his tablet. His confident expression slowly disappeared. Something wasn't matching the information he had been given. Without saying a word, the foreman called his survey technician over. They checked the GPS coordinates again, then looked back toward the mansion. Even from a distance, I could see concern replacing confidence. The HOA president insisted they continue working. He claimed the county records had already been updated. But when I asked for the recorded document number, he couldn't answer. One worker quietly whispered that the underground utility trench seemed much closer to my property than expected. Another worker stopped the excavator and looked toward the survey stakes. I reached into the document case and pulled out another folder. This one contained every deed transfer dating back to my grandfather's purchase of the ranch. No one expected me to have records that complete. The foreman politely asked if he could photograph the documents. I agreed without hesitation. The more evidence everyone saw, the clearer the truth became. Minutes later, the survey technician walked 50 yards farther toward the mansion. He planted a fresh survey marker in the ground and measured again. Everyone suddenly became very quiet. The technician slowly removed his hard hat and stared back toward the foreman. He quietly admitted that the original fence line appeared to be correct all along. The HOA president demanded another survey immediately. I simply folded my documents and waited. Deep down, I already knew the next measurement would change everything. A second licensed surveyor arrived just before sunset with professional GPS equipment. He ignored everyone's opinions and focused only on the official coordinates. The entire construction crew waited silently as he began measuring from the original county marker. The surveyor walked slowly across the open field, stopping every few yards to confirm the measurements. His expression remained serious as the GPS displayed the official property line. The HOA president's confidence began to fade. Finally, the surveyor stopped and placed a bright orange marker into the ground. He looked toward the mansion before quietly announcing that the legal property line extended far beyond the destroyed fence. The silence was impossible to ignore. The foreman opened the construction blueprints and compared them with the survey results. His face turned pale as he realized the utility trench had crossed onto my family's land. No one said a single word. The surveyor continued measuring toward the mansion's driveway. Each new reading confirmed the same result. The mistake was far larger than anyone had expected. One of the engineers carefully unfolded the full site plan across the hood of a wake truck. He traced the property boundary with his finger before slowly looking back at the mansion. The realization spread across every face. The surveyor calmly explained that the original ranch fence had marked the correct boundary all along. The new measurements showed that part of the mansion's landscape yard extended onto my family's property. The HOA president stood speechless. The construction crew immediately shut down every machine. Excavators fell silent, and workers stepped away from the trench while waiting for new instructions. The atmosphere had completely changed. The HOA president pulled out his phone and made several urgent calls. His confident smile had disappeared, replaced by genuine concern. Even the workers avoided making eye contact with him. As the sun dipped below the hills, the surveyor handed me a signed copy of the preliminary findings. I thanked him, folded the documents carefully, and realized the real battle was only beginning.